Hello. Have you noticed that information cybersecurity nowadays is basically a security risk decision? Everything is security risk decisions, right? And each of those security decisions, what policies, what tools, all that sort of thing, they're basically risk acceptance decisions. I say that like it's some novel concept, but it is novel to many organizations who think of security as technology or maybe a security operations center or something of that nature. But every decision for your security team is basically a risk acceptance decision. I used to see risk registers often where all the risks were listed and they say, we accept this risk, we mitigate this other risk, and this other risk we will try to address some other way. That's great. But with all the vendors, with all the service providers, with all the technology we have in our organization, it's tough to understand, identify, and manage all that risk. And the issue is most organizations do not understand all of the risk that they are accepting, even if they are accepting that risk unknowingly. That doesn't make any difference, right? Whether you know and understand that risk or you don't, when that risk turns into a vulnerability and it blows up, does it matter if you knew about it ahead of time? The answer is no. But that's why we need to get better at identifying risk, documenting it, and listing how or if we are accepting that risk. Now let's take a step further into a topic I love, and that is business continuity and disaster recovery. When we think of those areas, we think in the same way as security. What are all the risk levels, risk areas, and how do we mitigate the ones that we want to mitigate and accept the risk in the others? For example, I live more than 1,000 miles from any coast in the US, live in the middle of the US. I'm accepting the risk that we will not have a hurricane or tsunami, right? I'm accepting that risk. What other risks are you accepting knowingly or unknowingly? Because your BC and DR are how you mitigate some of that risk. Maybe it's if this happens, here are procedures to do something manually, and here's how we recover if not. But every part of security, continuity, and recovery is just risk. And we have to understand that risk. We have to be able to put our arms around that risk. And we have to be able to identify it and list whether or not and how we are mitigating it. Otherwise, be prepared to be blindsided. Let me give you one example. Everybody has data somewhere, right? Every organization has data. Which data do you need to secure more than others? And I don't mean just from a compliance standpoint. I mean, like, if this was breached, we would be in big trouble for some reason. And whether you are supposed to secure that from a compliance perspective or not, that doesn't matter. You need to do a self-assessment and say, we need to secure this, but we're okay with our current security with this other. You must list that out so that you have a handle on it. Lastly, you must, throwing the word must around pretty easily there, but you must update this. Today's risk is maybe not tomorrow's, and tomorrow may have a risk that you haven't even thought of yet. So make sure that you have your arms around all of your risks. This is Jeffrey T. Fertiller with Service Management Leadership. I thank you for being a part of this channel, being a part of what we do. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, message me there, email me, let me know how I can help you. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.